the good life, full of fun.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Got a big day today. Today we're gonna make a sandwich. Hopefully you guys love sandwiches. And if you ever heard of a Monte Cristo, which was a sandwich my father used to make when I was a kid, and it's a deep fried, batter coated ham and cheese. Is absolutely awesome, absolutely delicious. So what I wanted to do, and I did this years ago, is I wanted to take the Monte Cristo, which is essentially like a deep fried Reuben, and I wanted to put an Italian flavor, Italian flair on it. So this is a child of my brain, if you will, the Borio sandwich. We're gonna call it the Italian Monte Reuben, because essentially it's gonna be very similar to a Reuben, but with the Italian flavor. It's an Italian flair. It's absolutely awesome. It's delicious. This is not a sandwich that you would want to have if you're on some type of a cleanse or you're trying to lose some weight, because let me tell you something, this baby is definitely going to taste phenomenal, and it's got some calories, but certainly something to have once in a while. It's going to be absolutely delicious. So that being said, I want to share with you exactly how we put this baby together. So normally on a Reuben, you know, you're going to do a rye or some form of bread. We're going to use a ciabatta bread. So I've got a couple of slices of ciabatta, right? So there's our Italian flavor to it, right? And then what we're going to use is, rather than ham, we're going to use prosciutto. Now I already grilled it. I'm going to heat it back up. I grilled it earlier today, because we made some other sandwiches. My mouth is watering just talking to you guys. So we're gonna use some prosciutto, then we're gonna use Asiago cheese, we're gonna use some sauerkraut that we spiced up with a little salt and pepper, and some garlic. So that's gonna essentially be our sandwich. I got some aioli, which I made with, you ready for this? Blue cheese. I got an aioli with blue cheese and tomato paste. Absolutely awesome. We're gonna finish the dish, if you will, when we plate it, a little powdered sugar, and then some raspberry preserves, which is going to be very delicious. Now we got to make our batter. So our batter, what I've got is I've got 3.5 cups, 3¼ cups of flour, and then 3 cups of buttermilk. Okay, and that's going to give it that extra flavor, that extra tang, that extra kick that you want. Okay, and then we've got 2 eggs. We're going to want to put in our flour, we're going to put 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Now why? That's going to give it that crunch, but it's also going to give it that air. It's going to give it that airy flavor crunch. It's going to be absolutely delicious. And then again, a little bit more of Italian flair. We're going to use some nutmeg. In the sandwich, like I said, when we put the sandwich together, and I'll show you how to do that, we're going to pre-warm up the prosciutto with the sauerkraut, put the Asiago, we've got Asiago cheese rather than a Swiss, right, which is typically in a Reuben. We're going to put that on top of it, and then, man, my mouth is watering just thinking about this again. And then I got the blue cheese with the tomato paste, that aioli. Oh my God, gonna be awesome. All right, so let's put this together. What I did, just for the sake of time, is I took a couple slices of my ciabatta bread and I already toasted them. So I'm gonna have, in a moment here, I'm gonna have my camera person walk over and we're gonna show you how to heat up that prosciutto, the sauerkraut, and then we're going to cover it with the Asiago. We're going to warm it up. We're going to assemble the sandwich. Then we're going to mix it in that batter, and then we're going to deep fry it. It's going to be awesome, all right? So I'm going to start heating everything up. Then we'll come back, we'll mix our batter, then we'll deep fry it. We're going to plate it, hit it with some powdered sugar, with some raspberry preserves, and then the best part of it all day is to eat it. It's going to be delicious. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. All right, guys, here we go. So what I've got is I've got my prosciutto, right? So I'm going to take my prosciutto. Now what I did, my advice to you on prosciutto, is I cut it and I chop it up in pieces maybe 1 inch by 1 inch. Why do I do that? Because a lot of times, if you guys ever have a sandwich, you'll bite into something, and a lot of times it'll pull all the ham out if you don't get a clean bite on it. So this way, the sandwich, you get a bite of prosciutto every time, breaks apart really easily, and I just love it. So it's nice and thin. We're just going to heat it back up, okay? And then what I've got over here is I've got our sauerkraut, okay? So I've got that flavored sauerkraut. So I'm going to put that over here. Now, why am I doing it this way? I want to make sure, let me get everything out of our way here. I want to make sure that everything's nice and hot inside the sandwich, because when I put it in the oil, it's not going to stand there a whole long time, and as a result, I want to make sure everything's nice and warm, hot, melted inside, nice and gooey, okay? So this is going to heat up, and as this is heating up, I've already gone ahead and toasted my ciabatta, right? So I got a little salt, pepper, some olive oil, nice and brown and crispy that is. One of my tips, bits of advice to make something awesome, is to always make sure that the both sides of your bread are toasted. Same thing when we do our other types of sandwiches or paninis. We like to toast both sides before we put it together and put it back in the panini. That way you get that texture, that crunch, which is just awesome. So this is going to heat. Now what I'll do is as I heat this up, I'm just going to mix it up a little bit. Right? I want everything nice and hot. Look at how nice that prosciutto looks. Oh my God, isn't that awesome? So prosciutto, hey, how you doing? This is a sandwich that would go well with any Italian plate or any Irish plate. So you're going to be safe. This is just one of those sandwiches you would have like in a pub, you know, and you'd have a nice glass of beer with it. Oh my God, a pint. All right guys, here we go. So everything's nice and warm. So what I'm going to do, real simple, is I'm going to make a nice simple pile like I would put in my dish, right, of the prosciutto that's all warmed up. And I'm going to put my Italian flavored sauerkraut. Woo, stuff's flying, it's so fresh. I'm going to put the sauerkraut right on top of it, okay? And then, because it's already warm, right? And then what I'm going to do is I want that cheese to be nice and gooey on the inside, right? So now I'm going to put the Asiago, which I'm chomping on right now. It's just a great cheese. Now I happen to like, I love gooey cheese on my sandwich, right? So I'm going to put that cheese on there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it, right? I'm going to cover it up. I'm going to turn the heat down, way down, okay? Now why am I doing that? Because what I'm looking for here is I want it to get nice and warm. I want the cheese to get nice and warm and gooey. Then I'm going to place that on my sandwich. Then we're going to dip it in the batter, deep fry it, and plate it. It's going to be awesome. So let's go make the batter while this is warming up, right? Come on right over here. Okay guys, like I said, I've got about 3 cups of buttermilk, a little over 3, heavy 3.5 cups of flour, all right? So what I'm going to do is we're just making a batter. So we're going to mix that in the flour, and I'm going to do this without getting it on my shirt, okay? That's the goal here. It just smells so good and delicious. Now I'm going to mix that nutmeg, right? I got that nutmeg. I like to mix it while I'm mixing the flour so everything is really well incorporated. I also want to put in my baking powder, okay? And again, that's going to act as what they call a leavening agent, but essentially it's going to add air as it crisps, which makes it more crispy, more crunchy, and lighter. So we're going to kind of fold this in here in my mess. And sometimes depending on the flour or the amount of moisture you get out of an egg, sometimes you get a little bit more buttermilk, which is fine. And again, we're looking for a batter, so we don't want a dough, we want a batter. So as I always tell you guys, crack your eggs over another dish. Clear is nice so you don't get a shell in there. You hate to get a shell in your dish. And then mix it up really well so you don't want to try to mix the egg while it's in your dish. You want to mix the egg well first and then put it in your dish. All right, so I can hear that sizzling in the background. It's gonna be great. And there you go. Okay, now we've got our egg in there, right? And now essentially just here for a moment, we're just gonna mix everything up, right? And we're looking for a nice kind of a gooey batter. All right, guys, you ready? Oh, look at that puppy right there. So what I've got is I've got that meat, right? And I've got the sauerkraut, everything's nice and warm, and I've got the cheese. So everything's perfect, and I've got my sandwich ready to go here, right? So what I'm gonna do is this should stay together pretty well. So forgive me here if I block the camera just a bit, right? There you go, perfect. So I'm gonna put everything on the sandwich, and we want it nice and gooey, right? And don't worry, you're gonna make a little mess, it's gonna overflow, right? And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the sandwich together here. A little cheese fell off. Oh, look at that. See how nice and gooey that is? All right, guys, we're ready to put the sandwich together, right? So now I've got that aioli sauce, right, which is my own concoction. It's got a blue cheese. I love using the blue cheese because it gives it, you're looking for that tang, that bite, right, with a little tomato paste. I'm running out of breath here, man. I'm running around this kitchen. This is awesome. What a sandwich. Gonna have a happy house here in a minute. Pop that right together. All right, guys, here we go. All right, so the moment of truth. Now this is gonna make a little bit of a mess, don't worry about it, okay? And you're gonna lose a little bit. It's all good. So let me stuff. You're gonna stuff what you can in there, okay? Okay, guys, here's my trick. Number one, you definitely want 2 sets of tongs, okay? And then what you're gonna do, you wanna keep the sandwich together, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get 1 tong in there. I've tried this with 1, and sometimes it doesn't work so good, depending on your sandwich. So I'm gonna do 2 tongs. Okay, so there we go, right? There's our security, right? So now that being said, I'm gonna pull this over. Now remember, we got hot oil over here, so you gotta just take it slow, okay? So I'm gonna dip it in my batter, okay? There's our sandwich, okay guys? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just, real easy, pop it in, right? And watch it, because the oil's gonna come back on you a little bit, right? So just go nice and slow. Now once it gets in there and starts to fry, everything's gonna be fine, it'll stay together. But you gotta hold it just for about 30 seconds to a minute. Let it go in nice and slow. This is fun. Now if you're in a commercial kitchen or you got a deep fryer, you can put it right in a basket here. So this is old school here on how to do it. So, all right guys, here we go. So we're gonna set that right here. And I always like to set it up just vertical, just to let any oil drain off, all right? Then we're gonna, in this case, we're gonna shut oil because we already made some sandwiches. So I'm gonna shut all that off, okay? And then we're just gonna let it set and cool. Now remember, you're dealing with hot oil, so that's hot. Let it cool for a few moments. And then once you can handle it, we're gonna plate it, cut it, hit it with some powdered sugar and some jam. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. All right guys, welcome back, here we go. So I let it cool for a couple minutes, all right? Now I like to use a sharp straight knife. Use serrated, sometimes it crumbles all over. And I'll do just a little different angle just to give it a little geometry here, okay? And this puppy's still hot, so just watch it. Oh, that's good. All right, guys, here we go. Now, we're gonna hit it with the classic powdered sugar. The sugar's nice because you gotta remember, you got flavors in there, sweet, they're salty, you got meat, you got cheese, it's gooey. So that gives it that first taste in your mouth, that first touch, gives it that nice sweet little flavor. And then traditionally, Monte Cristo is always going to have those preserves, so I love raspberry preserves. So we're going to pop that right on the side, okay? And you can put it in a dish and dip it. I always like to do it to the side. I'm going to get that out of the way, get this out of the way. And that right there is the Italian Monte Reuben. That's awesome, all right? So obviously, one of the best, and I think we have a little Chuck Berry going here in the back, one of the best parts of our videos is to eat this puppy, right? So I'm gonna go right ahead and jump in there. So let me make sure I don't, for the sake of our video, I don't burn myself. So yeah, it's messy. You know, you can do a knife and fork and all that stuff, but, so you got the cheese, the prosciutto, everything, all right, right? Oh yeah. Oh my God. We had to add it just like about 10 seconds out because it was so good. And I couldn't talk, I took such a good bite. What's so great about that is the first thing it hits you is the powdered sugar. Then you got that crisp, that crunch, that puffy, crunchy batter on the outside that's fried. And then when you get inside, you got the crunch on the bread with the olive oil and the salt. And then you got that blue cheese tang with the aioli sauce, and then you've got the cheese, which is gooey, and then you go right into the ham, which is, it's got that prosciutto, salty, with the meat flavor. Oh my God, that by far, I'm telling you right now, prepare yourself, the world's greatest sandwich. That by far is the greatest sandwich you'll ever have. Wow. Guys, takes a little bit, enjoy it, take your time. Your family on a nice Sunday is going to enjoy that sandwich, and I promise you, they will tell you it is the best sandwich they've ever had. Don't forget to grab some Vito and Joe's extra virgin Italian olive oil right on our website. And guys, make some traditions, set some heritage for you and your family. Have a great week, bon appetit. Talk to you guys next week.
It's the